Trump backed off of his big Iran threat as reporting shows how Israel dragged the US into the war, and Republicans back home are once again pushing amnesty. I'm Amber Duke, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller, and here's what I'm tracking today. As we approach the 8 p.m. deadline for Trump to blow up a whole civilization on Tuesday night, the president announced that he had reached a ceasefire agreement with Iran. Here are the terms of the deal. There will be a 2-week ceasefire contingent on Iran agreeing to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The president also said that they're going to start the process of negotiating for a longer-term peace deal, and it's going to start with Iran's 10-point plan. The president framed this 10-point plan as being something new that was presented to him because of his threat to wipe out Iran, but the reality is that this has been circulating in the media for at least a week. Here's what's actually in that plan. Iran is asking the US and Israel to provide guarantees that they will stop attacking Iran and its proxies in the Middle East. It also wants reparations for the damage done to Iran during the war, sanctions relief, and continued control of the Strait of Hormuz. The US also has its own 15-point peace plan that addresses Iran's ballistic missiles program, as well as maritime travel. The president's indication that he wants to start negotiations on this 10-point peace plan have people wondering what the whole point of this conflict was. If the US were to agree to those 10 points, then they would end up in a worse position strategically than they were prior to the war. But it's possible the president is simply looking for an off-ramp. We are getting increasingly close to the timeline that the president first laid out when we started bombing Iran, and there's also new reporting from the New York Times that indicates bad Israeli intelligence might have played a bigger role in the US's decision to get involved in this conflict than previously thought. The Times report indicates that there was a February 11th meeting at the White House with President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as other senior US officials and Israeli intelligence. In that meeting, Israeli intelligence made a couple of key claims, and let's be honest, they haven't aged super well. Mossad told the US the following: Iran's ballistic missiles program could be destroyed in a matter of weeks. The regime would be so weakened that it couldn't choke off the Strait of Hormuz. And it was unlikely that Iran would possess the capabilities to threaten US interests in the region. Plus, Mossad assessed that the Iranian protesters who were out earlier this year would return to the streets once they saw that the regime was weakened. The war is now in its 6th week, and Iran still controls the Strait of Hormuz. They still have some ballistic missile capabilities. They've been able to shoot down multiple US planes. Iranian protesters have not come out en masse, and Iran is still able to strike US interests in neighboring countries. So what happens now? Are we actually looking at a lasting peace plan? Or will we get another round of Trump escalating his threats against the Iranian regime, only to a couple of hours before say, we're still negotiating? Only time will tell. Back home, Republicans are infighting over a bill that would provide mass amnesty to illegal aliens. The so-called Dignity Act, although its official legislative name is the Dignidad Act, was originally sponsored by Congresswoman Maria Salazar from Florida. It didn't get very far when it was introduced last year, but it does have 20 Republican co-sponsors, including Salazar. Congressman Mike Lawler from New York was on Fox News this weekend advocating for the bill once again. The bill has some positive things in it, like enhanced border security and mandatory E-Verify, but it also contains a lot of programs that critics say constitute mass amnesty. The namesake program created by the bill, the Dignity Program, contains the following provisions. If illegal aliens who came in prior to the Biden administration meet a certain set of requirements, they can actually have a pathway to legal status. It also expands the Dreamers program that was first instituted under President Barack Obama, and creates humanitarian campuses where asylum seekers can stay and have access to free lawyers. Those lawyers are also offered 75% forgiveness on their student loans if they spend 4 years helping illegal immigrants seek legal status. It's pretty crazy, but Congresswoman Salazar claims that this is not amnesty. She said in a tweet, "Read the bill before you open your mouth. This is enforcement first. Zero tolerance for criminals, permanent border security, and hard-earned requirements to step forward and face the law. American workers are protected, not undercut." A lot of Republicans aren't buying it. Congressman Brandon Gill from Texas responded this way: Maria, your Dignidad Act would give legal status to over 10 million illegal aliens. It's rank amnesty, and everyone knows it. The Daily Caller asked the White House last year whether or not Trump would sign this bill if it ended up on his desk. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said at the time that she didn't believe the president had fully read the bill, but that he does not support amnesty. So where does this bill go from here? And why are the Republican co-sponsors suddenly promoting it again in major interviews on cable news? That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.